Hi, I'm Paris, and have you ever gone to your doctor and told them there's something going on, but according to the textbook, it's not how things work, so they refuse to believe you? Well, between that and a mistake made when I was given an injection of medication, I've had a pretty crummy past couple months. So this all started back in September last year when I was going in for my once every 3 month Lupron shot. Lupron's a medication that keeps your testosterone level very low. Since I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, had the chemo, had the radiation, and I'm supposed to be on Lupron for an indeterminate extended period of time. They started me on it back in October 2020, and it pushed my testosterone levels very low, down to 15, which is very low. Normal is around 400 to 700. So they stayed that whole year very low. They initially gave me monthly shots of it, and then they said, well, you don't need to come in so often, so we'll give you a 3 month dose. Now, the difference between a 1 month dose and a 3 month dose, you would think, well, they make it more concentrated or something, but no, it's actually the same concentration. They just give you 3 times as much liquid. So instead of a syringe with like this much liquid, it's a syringe with like this much liquid. And this is the kind of shot they want to do what's called intramuscularly. So especially with a large volume of liquid, they're looking for a big muscle, so they give it to you in your butt cheek. So I'd had these shots a number of times, and I know how it goes. With the 1 month dose, they put it in, and it's about 5 seconds of injecting, and then they pull it out, put a little bandage on it, you're good to go. With the larger 3 month dose, it's more like they poke you, and it's about 15 seconds of them injecting it, and you want it to be slow. You don't want them to hurry, because one time a nurse did do it a little fast, and oh yeah, you feel that. Well, that's how it went each time until my end of September 2021 injection, when things went differently. I was leaned over a chair in their storage closet, because that's where they do this. You just need a little privacy for it, and that 15 seconds. So they do the poke and start the injecting, and I feel something running down my thigh, and they say, oh, you're bleeding. And of course this is all going on behind me, so I can't really see, but I assume they grabbed some tissue or cotton balls or whatever was handy, and I feel them wiping up my leg from my thigh up to where I assume they're still doing the injection with the one hand, wiping with the other, right? And as they're doing the injection, at least another 2 or 3 times I feel them with whatever it is, tissues, cotton balls, going down to my thigh and wiping up towards where they're doing the injection. I thought, well, I must be bleeding an awful lot. And it crossed my mind while this was going on that, well, they're putting the medicine into this hole that the blood's leaking out of. I wonder if some of the medicine is coming back out as well. But I thought they must know what they're doing, and it's intramuscular, so I assume this is all okay. They stick a bandage on me and send me home. Well, that's the last I thought about it until early December, when I started having some different things going on. Some things suggested to me, strongly suggested, that my testosterone levels were going up. You just kind of know. And in addition to that, I was having an issue with some heart palpitations and arrhythmias that I kind of have had for some years off and on, but usually something triggers it when it happens, and I've learned what things tend to trigger it, and I stay away from those, so I don't have that issue. But I couldn't figure out what was causing these episodes I was having more and more frequently. And then I remembered back in September that shot that kind of went awry, and I had all of that stuff running down my leg that had to be cleaned up, and I thought, wow, I wonder if actually there was a significant amount of medicine that didn't make it into me, and so the effect of the Lupron that I've been on for over a year, which has kept my testosterone very low, is actually wearing off, and my testosterone is coming up. Would explain these feelings I have, and it would also explain possibly the why my heart's acting up, because I'm going from a hormone level of almost down to 0, and who knows where it is on its way back up. So I suffered through the heart issues. I tried everything to get it to calm down and stay stable, but I can't affect my hormone levels, so I just had to sort of ride that out until we got to the end of the month. It was time for me to go in and get my next shot and my lab work done. So when I saw my doctor, first thing I told him, I think my testosterone levels are going up. Now, it takes them some hours to do that part of the blood test, so they didn't have those numbers to look at. But I told them why I thought that had gone up. I told them about the incident back in September where the injection wasn't the way it usually went, and I had the stuff running down my leg. And they said, yeah, they said, but an intramuscular shot, that shouldn't be an issue. If we're doing something like a like right under the skin. Sometimes the medication will leak out, but it's very unlikely that that was the case. And I said, okay, well, I couldn't convince them. They said when your testosterone results come in, you can look on the online portal and check those numbers out. But now it's time to go and get your shot. So I went over to get my next shot, and while I was there, I did explain to the nurse doing the shot about, well, the last time I was in here, kind of a weird thing happened, and they said, yeah, with it being the intramuscular, I don't think the medication would have come back out. But anyway, she gave me the shot. No problem at all. No bleeding. Even when the bandage they put on when I took it off the next day, there's just a little drop of blood, which is how it had normally been. So I was confident that at least this most recent shot that I got, that it took. So I went home, and a couple days later, logged on to the online portal to check my results, and my testosterone was 382. Now, it had been at 15 for month after month for the better part of a year. It had stayed very stable. And at the December 30th, which this is the day I got the latest shot, it doesn't take effect immediately. And actually, they tested it before they gave me the shot. It had jumped up to 382. Before starting this whole thing, a normal testosterone level for me was somewhere in the mid 400s. So it was almost all the way back up to normal. And when the Lupron wears off, it doesn't go up like that. It takes some weeks. So that my understanding of what had happened is that I not only didn't get a little bit of the medication, I must have missed a fair chunk of that medication that went in, came right back out, and ran down my leg. Now, I had my 6-month follow-up appointment with the radiation place where I had my proton therapy radiation on the prostate. I had that coincidentally the following week. So I thought, well, I'll bring this up with them and see what they think. So finally I get to go in and see the doctor, and he says, we're concerned about how your numbers have gone up. And I said, yeah, and here's why they went up, because when I had the shot, I explained the whole thing, and he just looked right at me and said, there's maybe a 5% chance of that. Well, maybe it's a 5% chance. That's what the textbook says, or that's in the general population, but it's a 100% chance it happened to me because I was there and I know. Now, admittedly, I was not watching what was going on because it was happening behind me, but I felt it at the time, and it explains exactly what's happening, but nobody will believe me about this. So a couple days after I get back to Austin, I go and check the portal, and I can see my latest numbers from the test they did up there in Dallas. Well, my testosterone is now 503. It's crazy high. That's way above normal for me. So obviously I'm having, as I predicted, another testosterone flare. It's jumping up really high before it's going to go down. Okay, so finally I get a call back from the folks here in Austin, and they said, yeah, we've noticed what's going on with your numbers, and we're concerned about it. And I try to explain again about the whole thing of what happened. And they say, yes, I see that listed here in the notes. And somebody finally wrote down what I said, at least. And she said, well, we want you to come in 2 weeks' time, and we're going to test again and see how your numbers are doing. So it's another 2 weeks of waiting and worrying and still having the heart palpitation and rhythm issues, which finally, here I am talking to you again, finally in the past week have let up. And let me tell you what my latest numbers show. Testosterone, 27. After getting a proper dose of the Lupron, it's expect on its way back down to about 15, which is where it was for that whole year, which I think clearly validates that what I said all this time was correct. That it wasn't that my body had developed a resistance to the Lupron, or I was having some other weird thing going on that was causing a temporary spike in the testosterone. It was because the injection that I had gotten previously got messed up, and so I didn't get the full dose of medication. It wore off early. My testosterone came up. Does anybody call and say, we're so sorry, turns out you were right? No, I don't get that call. Or we're so sorry you had all of these issues, very likely related to your hormone level going from very low up to normal, up to super high, back down to low. So I'm doing better, and I expect that to continue as my testosterone gets down to the lowest point it's going to be at, and it stays there, and then my body can get used to that I think things will be cool again. Now, it did bother me some that that one factor changing could cause those heart issues to come back. So I know that there are a number of elements that can trigger that, and so I really want to reduce those as much as possible. So if something like this happens again, or eventually I'm hoping I will get off the Lupron and my testosterone will come back up, so things are going to have to adjust. So I want to make things as easy as possible on my heart. So I've decided on a couple different things I'm going to try out and a couple things I'm going to do, which I'll talk about in future videos, that should help to keep my heartbeat calm and steady. So I'll be doing videos on those topics as well as other product reviews. And all I can really say for right now is if you get into the situation where you know something's going on and the doctor says, no, that can't be the case, keep telling them, tell whoever will listen, and eventually they might at least write it in your chart. And I'll see you on the next review.
There are so many choices and you don't want to stress. You want your health food at home, receiving only the best. That's what we're here for, we give honest reviews. parristx.